my YouTube channel, the M&MLife. I know it has definitely been a minute. So I've kind of been MIA, and I told you guys that I'd start vlogging. I started a vlog, I started recording for a vlog, but honestly it just became too much with trying to figure out. I moved to a completely different city, I know no one here. I just wanted to get my footing first, kind of get familiar with my program, my classes, studying, and then I had a wave of exams. Point being, don't really know if vlogging is going to work out in my favor, but I will continue to make videos to uplift you guys. But anyway, I told you guys that I give you a life update. So for those of you who do not know, once I graduated from Spelman, I moved to Columbus, Ohio, and I am now a student at The Ohio State University. I am in a post-bac program in the College of Medicine, but it is a conditional acceptance. So once I'm done with this year, I will be attending The Ohio State University College of Medicine in the entering fall 2019 class. That's a mouthful. But the program I'm in is called MedPath. I'm going to actually start a video series about that because not a lot of people know about the MedPath program. And it's a very awesome opportunity for you to be able to go through the application process. And if it does not go your way, but you get accepted to this program, you don't have to resubmit another MCAS application. You don't have to go through all the hustle of applying to medical school again. You are conditionally accepted to The Ohio State University for the next incoming medical class, so I'll do something about that. So I just wanted to come on and do a video about interviews. So congratulations if you made it to this stage. I know it has been a very nerve-wracking journey, but take a deep breath, breathe in and breathe out. Honestly, this part should be the fun part, right? I know that's probably not the case, and if anything, you're probably super, super nervous. But I just wanted to do this video as someone who's gone through a lot of different interviews, just to kind of give you a few tips to kind of reduce your anxiety and help you realize, okay, I got it. It's fine. So the very first thing that I want to say, which honestly sounds like it seems kind of weird, but honestly, interview season is not over until it's over. And I say that because a lot of people, it's around October, a lot of people are like, I haven't gotten interviews yet, I'm not going to get in, and you're feeling really anxious. But truth be told, a lot of schools interview people all the way up until April. So if you have not heard anything yet, don't freak out, don't get yourself worked up. But that's also another perk of applying early. People who applied earlier are getting these earlier interview dates. With that being said, I interviewed, I think in January. I submitted my MCAS application a little bit later, because of issues going on. Definitely apply earlier if you can. I definitely recommend you applying earlier, but just for my life, that's not how it worked out. So I submitted my MCAS in August. So by the time I was done with secondaries, it was the end of August, beginning of September-ish. So it actually took me a while to get interviews. I interviewed in January, February, and then I interviewed for MedPath in April. OSU specifically does their med school interviews, and then for MedPath, it's a program of 15 people. They select 30 people to interview, and of that 30, they pick their 15, and our interview dates are in April. But even when I was interviewing in April, I heard of some people who were still getting callbacks for medical school interviews. So don't get wrapped up in that everything has to happen now. Honestly, anything can happen in the application cycle. I kid you not, I had already committed to OSU, submitted my information, and was preparing to move to Columbus, and I got a phone call that someone had accepted me to another program that I had completely forgot about, and I had, I think, maybe like a week to make a decision. And I got this call in May, maybe late May, early June. So the application cycle is not over until it's over. So don't give up hope. Don't stress yourself out. Just sit, do everything that you can do. But at the end of the day, it's all in God's hands. And so the second thing that I'll say, which also seems like it makes a lot of sense, but be yourself. I cannot tell you how many people go into these interviews so worked up that their true self can't even shine through. But something that someone always told me is that at this point, they've gone through your application with a fine-tooth comb. So, I mean, they know your GPA, they know your MCAT scores, they know all your 15 experiences, the ones that you marked as the most meaningful to you, literally everything that you put on paper, they already know about you. And they still want to interview you. So at this point, it's not a matter of what do you do on campus or what have you done in your extracurriculars, what community service have you done. At this point, it's about letting yourself shine through. They're looking at, oh, okay, how is this person's bedside manner? How do they relate to people? Would I want this person as my physician? That's what they're looking at. So don't feel that you have to go in there on guard and kind of stiff and all put together. And I know I had purposely planned, of course, why medicine questions, but I was so prepared to talk about my medical experiences. And honestly, in a bulk of the interviews that I did have, I didn't talk about medicine that much. And I know that sounds kind of crazy, but I actually distinctly remember, so I come from a musical family, and my family actually does a family concert, and we sing and we raise money, and we give that money to an underprivileged student so that they can pursue higher education. And my interviewer, turns out, he used to sing in a gospel choir, so we got to talking literally about gospel choir music, instruments we like to play. And I mean, that was the bulk of my interview. And I'm looking like, okay. And I mean, of course I found ways to relate that back to medicine. But at the end of the day, that's what he found interesting. I remember another one of my interviews, they wanted to talk about my experience as a team advisor for the National Student Leadership Conference on Medicine and Healthcare. Granted, it's related to medicine and healthcare, but that was more so my role. I was a teacher, leading and guiding high schoolers who maybe are interested in medicine, aren't sure, but helping them plan their future and figure out what their next step will be once they get to college. Once again, not directly related to medicine, but they kind of looked at my application and picked out the things they wanted to talk about. And all I had to do was expound upon it. And because everything that I put in my application I was so passionate about, like, it was an easy sell. I was able to talk about it confidently. I had a smile on my face. The same enthusiasm I have as I look at myself smiling, looking crazy in this camera is how I felt in my interview, because I was talking about things that I loved, and I purposely made sure that everything that I did aligned with my greater purpose. So don't be so focused on, like, I have to relate everything back to medicine. Seriously, just be yourself. So the next thing I will say is to reread your MCAS and the secondary for that particular school the night before, because literally anything you write is fair game. Literally anything. I reread my MCAS and my secondary the night before, and I mean, thank God I did, because my interviewer was just so fascinated with the research project that I did in between my freshman and sophomore years of college. And it was a project that only lasted maybe about a month and a half, and they asked me point blank about my research and the results. And if I had not sat and actually, reread what I wrote about it, I probably would have drawn a blank. So just make sure that you reread everything that you put, because literally anything is fair game. Also, I would say, if your school offers like an applicant dinner the night before, I know all interviews I went to, there was some type of pre-med applicant dinner the night before the interview. And it was just a way for you to get together with other people who will be interviewing with you, as well as current students in the program, and get your questions answered. So if your school has that, I would highly recommend that you go. It's a great way to network and make connections with future healthcare professionals, but it's also a way to get the feel of what students say about their institution. For me, it was an easier way for me to craft questions to have in my interview the next day. Never walk in an interview and not have a question for your interviewer at the end. I was able to ask school-specific questions. I was able to hear what resources were available at the school and what students truly thought about the school outside of a professional setting where they're giving you, of course, the prim and proper rundown of the school. And so it was just a really nice way to have your questions answered, and also ask those questions that you probably do not want to ask in a professional setting on your interview day. It's off the record. Anything you ask will not affect your decisions the next day. None of the students were actual student interviewers. So it's just a great way for you to get a feel of the school ahead of time before you step in onto campus for your interview the following day. And lastly, I will just talk about the two differences between closed and open interviews, just because I feel like it's helpful to know. I did not know what my interviews would be going in. Except for if I had gone to the applicant dinner, they tell me, oh, it's open or closed. But I know a lot of people hear those terms and they're like, okay, what does that mean? And so if you have an open interview, that basically means that your interviewer will have seen all of your MCAS, your secondary. So they have all your MCAS scores, your GPA, your 15 experiences, literally everything, and they've read it all. And so a lot of times they come in like already having written notes that they want to ask you about a certain situation that they might have seen in your MCAS. So, you know, oh, your GPA might have dipped this semester. Can you tell me a little bit about what happened there? Things like that. A completely closed file interview is when they have none of that information available to you. So they have not seen your GPA, they have not seen your grades, they haven't seen anything, and you're literally just walking in and selling yourself. And then I've also seen a mixture of both. So I've also been in partial closed interviews, which is they saw my 15 experiences, they saw my secondary, but they did not see my GPA, they did not see my MCAT score. So I've also been in that situation. I did not personally have any M&MLives during my application cycle, which stands for mini medical school interviews. If you don't know what that is, it's basically when there's a scenario written on the door, you read it, and you have a certain amount of time to craft an answer, and then you walk in and you answer that question and give like a mini speech, basically. I did not have those, so I cannot speak on those, although I did practice them for my interview. I would suggest that you do mock interviews as well as mock M&MLives, just to be prepared for whatever interview situation you might be walking into. But overall, just be yourself. Have fun with it. Don't let it stress you out. Once you get to an interview stage, it's all about being yourself, improving yourself. So, I mean, you've already done what it takes on paper to be invited to an interview. This is the last hump before you get accepted. So don't let interview season stress you out. Don't let interview season be, oh my gosh, like this is not, no, this should be where you shine. Get in front of them and really show them who you are. So those are kind of just some tips I have. It wasn't specifically for like what to do in your interview to make sure you get in. I didn't want to do that type of video, but I just wanted to do something to kind of reduce your nerves a little bit and kind of help you walk in an interview season feeling a little bit more confident. I feel like there's enough videos out there to tell you like how to craft your answers. I really just wanted something to kind of reduce your stress and kind of give you the encouragement you need to kind of push through this last stage before you get your acceptance. So I just want to wish you guys the best of luck, praying for everyone who is interviewing for this cycle. If you have questions, comments, concerns, prayer requests about your application, drop them below. I am more than happy to answer them and more than happy to lift you guys up in prayer. And I will be back doing a video about funding your medical school application process. Your medical school interviews included, because I know traveling can be very expensive and I'm always trying to look for ways to help everybody save money. So follow me on social media at the M&MLife. Well, technically it's at the M&MLife. My personal Instagram is at _yours_truly_Cam. Forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye!